everyone. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Barricade. I'm Lor.
And I'm Madi.
And today you're about to listen to our episode with our good friend, James, part one.
Part one. James Coffman. Use his government name.
Yep. Sorry, James Coffman.
This was a really fun episode for us, and one that I feel like has been a long time coming.
Yes.
We've recently discussed, we have had a photographer technically on the podcast before. However, the topic of conversation was not centered around photography.
Correct.
So this is the first time that we're having a concert photographer on the podcast.
And I just said part one because this is going to be a two-part episode.
Yes.
Because it's essentially a blueprint for people wanting to break into the industry, want more particular touring. James talks in and out about his experience and what he thinks is like the blueprint to get in this industry. And I will say, like, it is pretty like spot on. And before going into like all of his experience, everybody does their own thing. Like no two scenarios of like getting into the touring world is going to be the same.
No.
There is technically no rules, no blueprint for it. You don't have to do X, Y, and Z to get into the industry. But James has a pretty fucking good point.
I was about to say, well, no one's, I feel like, path looks exactly the same because a lot of it, we talked about this during the episode, so much of it is relationship based and just breaks that you get.
Yeah.
However, I think James does a really good job of showing people how to put yourself in a position to where you are meeting people and forming relationships that kind of help you get to where you want to go, but in a genuine way, and also putting yourself in a position for opportunities to present themselves to you.
Exactly.
And I think that's the commonality that can probably be found in everyone that has managed to break into the touring industry.
Such a good word. Yes.
And yeah, I think James breaks it down phenomenally. We have very strategically not had a dedicated concert photographer episode yet. Mm-hmm. Because
we haven't even talked about my like realm into it yet.
No.
Even like that's how strategic we are with it. Like we were like, no, we need James. I'm nobody compared to James Coffman. Like, we needed to talk to James. Yeah. I wanted to talk to James.
We have so many connections, obviously, both being concert photographers. Mm-hmm. We know so many concert photographers. But
James felt right.
We knew that we wanted to have James because he has been doing this so long. And I feel like has done it well and very strategically in a way where he hit the ground running as soon as he started touring. He is booked for the next 2 years.
I was about to say, He's been doing this for so long. He started touring last May. So, yeah. But and he's been shooting prior.
His first tour was Sleeping with Sirens, I think he mentioned, which is insane. And he just, I think he is a wealth of knowledge and has just been in this industry for so long and knows kind of how to put yourself in a position to be successful in the touring industry.
Yeah.
And boy, do we talk about it all.
We do. We kind of give like a skeleton of the do's and don'ts and what really people remember. And it's all important stuff. And it's all really good stuff to know. And I haven't found anything on the internet about it.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for you guys to listen to it. Because I will say, like, he's not wrong.
No.
Like, everything he says, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, that tracks. So,
yeah.
Again, two-parter, because we do yap.
We yapped for almost 2 hours, which is why we broke it up. However, I don't think we could cut it down because everything we talk about, I think, is so important. We also had the honor of being the first podcast that James has done. So I feel like there was a lot about the industry that he just wanted to talk about as well and has never had an outlet to do so. Mm-hmm. So it's a really great conversation. If you have any interest in breaking into the live music world and especially touring,
listen to it.
This is it.
So enjoy our conversation with James Coffman. Hi, everyone.
I'm Madi.
I'm Lor.
And today we're going beyond the barricade with one of our very good friends.
Our dad, our father.
James Coffman. Welcome to the pod.
I'm James.
I realize I just said our father. We call you dad. Well, there
needs to be context there.
There needs to be some context. First of all, I don't even know like how this is diving into this, but in the Dallas photographer community, there is like a very tight group of us. Everybody knows everybody. There's like the core three of you guys, and you know who I'm talking about. The three fucking
The
amigos.
Holy Trinity,
the
if you
Holy
will.
Trinity of our scene, I think. And we call them all dad.
Yes.
Collectively.
Correct.
It's James,
Zach,
Justin.
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 And we love them all.
But today we got one of them. Today we snagged one.
So when we first started this podcast, we kind of strategically did not choose to interview a photographer right off the bat, even though that is who we had the most connections to, because we know so many. And we wanted to be very selective with who we ended up bringing on. And as soon as we introduced the idea, we were both instantly like, we have to have James whenever he is available. It has to be James. There's no other option.
And I feel like we've been kind of like tracking you down for a bit. We've mentioned it a few times.
No, you've mentioned it like 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, yeah, just tell me when.
And then finally...
And then James got super successful and busy and has been all over the world. But we finally got him.
It was like, I think like a drunken text or something we sent out to him, like a plea. We're like, James, come to the podcast, please. And he was like, I'm actually leaving on Tuesday, but I'm free today or on this day.
Yeah. So here we are.
And here we are. Just like that. Welcome.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you so much for taking the little time out.
Yes.
Because we know you're about to head out again. But before we get to all of that.
So we obviously have a lot to talk about with like the music industry and being a photographer, a touring photographer. But before we do that, we want to go way back to James before he was a photographer and how you got into music. So was there a person in your life that introduced you to the music that you eventually became a fan of? How did you kind of get into this scene?
So I have to give credit to my brother. He was the one that kind of showed me the like. It like started weirdly with like Breathe Carolina.
Oh, hell yeah.
And like I really liked that sound, and then it just kind of transcended into the like kind of metalcore, post-hardcore, scene-core, core bands. Probably when I was in, I don't know, 10th grade, 10th grade. But before that, like, I had been still listening to music, but like this scene, not so much. It was like Korn and like Papa Roach and System of a Down and stuff like that. But I was just obviously a fan of the music. And then I discovered like the core bands, and I was like, this is cool. And then I found out that a lot of my other friends enjoy these same core bands. And that was kind of where listening to bands like A Day to Remember, We Came as Romans, Sleeping with Sirens kind of happened.
All kind of stemmed out from that.
Yeah. And then I went full like scene emo kid, and and like growing up in like a small like town with like 4,000 people in it, like I was different looking than everyone else.
Yep.
You were the resident emo?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was just talking about how when I was growing up, my oldest brother and his best friends used to all make fun of me for like listening to emo music, and like I was like, you guys just don't understand. And I'm like, literally that stereotype where I'm like, you guys like just don't get it. And I'm like, damn, I was that emo kid in our small ass town in New Jersey. But it was good.
Yeah, but I think you like it to just like it. Like it's like anything. Like
I was like, I didn't understand it because I was like, it's just like who I am and like what I like.
Right. I don't know. My brother, when I was in like 8th grade, he moved to Arizona to live with my mom, and I stayed back in Texas. And every summer I'd go out to Arizona to visit my mom, see my brother, my grandma, grandparents, whatever. And while I was out there, like I made friends with the youth group of the church that my grandma made me go to. And now those guys are some of my best friends today. And they also started the band like Archetypes Collide that I talk about all the time. Yeah. And so like they all listen to the music, and so I would like go out there and become a little bit more like edgy and scene, and then come back home and then like
you'd level up,
push the boundaries a little bit of like what people would accept. So it was like started with like, you know, skinny jeans and band shirts, and then it like went to like jorts and V-necks and
We do have photo evidence of this that you have posted on your Instagram that we will put right here.
Very transparent with
there's no hiding it.
How I used to
Swoopy
dress.
hair got closer and
Yeah,
closer
the
to the
angle
eyes.
of your swoop.
Yeah, like I think after like the second or third time going out there, like I got a straightener so I could straighten my hair.
I love it. So it was all like your brother.
Yeah, everything like my brother did. Like I couldn't gauge my ears while I was in high school because my dad said he'd kick me out of the house. And so the moment I got to college, I pierced my ears and started gauging them like right away because my brother had like big gauged ears. And I was like, I want to look like
you
that.
Be like your brother.
My brother was a huge inspiration for like how I looked and what I listened to. So like, if you're listening, like, thanks, dog.
Yeah.
You know?
Look how far we've come.
Yeah. So like he was big there, and for the longest time, I thought I was gonna be a musician. Like,
do you play an instrument?
Yeah, I played the drums in my high school worship band.
Yeah. Such a weird church parallel to the scene.
And
it really
then
is.
Started playing guitar and singing like my junior or senior year, and Ed Sheeran is I would say still my favorite artist of all time. And I was like, I'm going to go be the next Ed Sheeran. So I bought a loop pedal.
Oh, yeah.
Got like all the stuff to record. And
for those who don't know, James's wife is
right
off camera dying because it's so true.
It's so good.
I told myself after I graduated college, I was going to move to Arizona, of all places.
Great.
And start my music career.
Hell yeah.
We're all great musicians too.
Yes.
I had like this image in my head of what it was going to look like. I was like super motivated to do it. But then like, obviously, you got to have money to do things.
Yeah. I hate when reality hits.
And so I graduated and I was like, well, I need a job.
Where'd you graduate? Where'd you go to school?
I went to the University of North Texas.
Oh, cool.
In Denton, Texas.
Eagles?
Caw.
There it is.
Yeah. Unironically, I was a film grad.
Oh.
And I didn't.
Did you know going in, like, that's like what you wanted to do?
No. No.
You just chose film?
Just seemed fun.
I did camera stuff all throughout high school, and I was just like, but we were on like little DV tapes and stuff. Like it was like.
AV club. It was like a big AV club.
Barely digital kind of thing, you know? Mm-hmm. But anyways, and so like I felt like I had the creative background to be able to like support all of that. And the long and short is I graduated and I didn't have money. Yep. And I couldn't just be like, become a musician because I also didn't know how any of it worked.
Yeah.
So that kind of like deterred my reality from that. And so this is, I don't know, this might be like not a shock, but I was in a fraternity when I was in college.
I did know that.
I did not know this.
Wait, which I also think is just so funny.
It doesn't matter.
He's a Delta Kappa.
No. Phi Kappa Sigma.
There you go. There it is.
Anyways, and I was in the fraternity all 4 years. And for people that don't know anything about fraternities, it's like they can be cool. They don't have to be lame.
He's like, I stand by it.
Like some of my best friends in the fraternity listen to like Chiodos and
hell yeah.
You know, like
so they're not all like jock bros, like the stereotypical.
Yeah, there were still scene kids in there. So that was like
I also feel like the time when we were in college, the like 2014, 15, 16, I don't know if we're the same years, but I feel like that was a little more, not mainstream, but like, I don't know. I could see it being more prevalent in
fraternities. So like there's kids that listen to metal music in it and I was like, that's sick. And I,
Yeah, you got in it.
I paid for some friends. I'm sorry, guys. You know,
I literally made that joke the other day.
Yeah.
But
classic.
Ended up being great because after I graduated, I actually went and worked for that fraternity.
Oh, sick.
For like the first 3 years post grad, and traveled the country and went to different universities and met a ton of different people in these chapters. And
were you doing film or like what were you doing?
Nah,
you were just working for them.
I was just working doing consulting and stuff like that. So like I just took a straight left turn out of whatever it was that like I thought I was going to do.
Yeah.
And you know, because I had to make money. I had like the reality is you have to make money.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
And like I, in a way, didn't have help. I had to go like do that shit on my own.
Yeah.
So I took like, I don't know, 2 years after graduation before I like picked up a camera.
I was going to ask, that was going to be our next question, is how you kind of transitioned, because obviously you did have a film background studying it in college, but how did you end up in the concert photography, eventually concert videography world?
Yeah. Because photo came before video, right? For you? Yeah.
So it was, I don't know. Like I bought a camera when I was in college because I was like, I need one. I'm a film grad. I'm going to use this, you know? And my first camera was a Canon T3i.
Me too, in college. Yes.
Canon T3i.
Like nerds.
Hell yeah.
And
Good old
you know,
T3i.
that was what I ran around with a kit lens, like 35 to 70 something, maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It was shit. But I didn't know any better. I like, if you're watching this, do not go to film school.
Love.
Because you unless you're like focused on like what you really want to do and the university or program that you go to has that as an option, you're really not gonna go anywhere outside of the people that you meet while you're there. Like I'm glad I went to college because I met so many other people, but the degree did nothing. I learned how to wrap an XLR cable and put a tripod away.
Hell yeah.
2 most important things I learned there. So
there's some audio person who loves you.
I say all that with the you know, the intent of like, if it wasn't for the people I met while I was there, like I wouldn't have, I think, explored it.
Mm-hmm.
And so like what I guess got me to explore like concert photography or whatever is I was a big fan of going to So What Fest when I was in school. It was like, you know, it was like the Texas like Warped Tour in a way.
It's
right?
like every band you listen to is there.
Yeah.
It's the festival that's easily accessible to you.
Yeah. And I remember that So What, like, social account posted that they were doing a documentary screening to like kind of promote the festival that was happening that same weekend. It was like either like Friday or Thursday they were screening, and then like the next like 2 days or so was the festival. And maybe it was just 1 day, 2 days. I don't remember. Yeah, it's 2 days.
2 days.
2 days. Yeah.
Early So What's, yeah.
And I went to the screening by myself, and I showed up and sat at the bar and I like watched it. Actually, no, sorry. Before the screening happened, a guy named Hunter Garrett.
Hunter.
Shout out Hunter.
Who also, ironically enough, just saw a little bit ago.
Who I just found out is like lives here.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, I didn't know Hunter was in town. He's like, he lives here. I was like, oh, sick.
Yeah. And I've known of Hunter because of just like the concert scene.
And
in
the
Dallas.
yeah.
And just going to shows and seeing him and knowing
It's
like
such a tight world for people who like aren't in Dallas or like understand. Like it's
Or just in general.
yeah, it's so I don't know if it's like a regional thing, but it's like, yeah, like you kind of see the familiar faces at the shows, you know, bless you. At the shows you like go to, you kind of like feel this like tiny community grow. So Hunter, yeah.
Yeah. So I remember seeing Hunter there, and I knew that Hunter was the one that made it. So like,
oh, he made the documentary?
Yeah, he made the documentary.
Shit.
So
Okay.
like I was partially there to like support him, but also like see the documentary. But I didn't know him, you know. But I remember showing up, being at the bar. I was grabbing a drink, or I was like sitting there with my drink, and Hunter walked up to my left. And I'd known that Hunter had a mutual friend of mine that I knew in school because Hunter also went to UNT.
Cool.
And he walked up and like, he didn't say anything to me, but I was like, I feel like I should say something. So I was like, hey, Hunter, right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, we have mutual friends with a guy named Austin from UNT. I was in class with him, and he said that he like knew who you were. And he's like, oh yeah, I love Austin. Austin's great. And I was like, yeah. So that was that. I was like, can't wait for the documentary, you know, and we like moved on. And then afterwards, it was a great documentary. One of the songs was like stuck in my head that he used for like ever. And then it was very shortly before I met Retta, who's sitting here, that
James's wife.
I remember showing her this song that I had stuck in my head when she came over to our house because my roommate was her best friend. And
Cute.
It was from that documentary
And they
screening.
were roommates.
And then I had, anyways, weird connection there. But after the documentary, I walked up to Hunter. I was like, hey, man, like, just wanted to let you know the documentary was sick. And, you know, hopefully the festival goes well. And he was standing next to another guy. And this guy goes, oh, are you shooting the fest? And I was like, no. and Hunter just
Did you
goes,
shoot any shows before this?
No.
Okay.
No. Okay, great.
No. And Hunter goes, well, do you want to? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And so Hunter hooked me up with, you know, a wristband for both days. And I went to shoot So What? It was super cool, like super dope. It was the Deep Ellum edition of So What in 2016.
R.I.P.
And it was sweet. It was just super cool. And that was my first real show that I shot. Like I had friends in Denton that like I would go and like take photos of them at a bar playing like a open mic night or some shit.
Yeah.
But that was about it. That was like my real introduction, and Hunter is the reason that I was able to do that. And I just had lunch with him today, and it was awesome to catch up.
I love that.
So
I would like to point out the podcast. That's like really cool hearing about that. And it just kind of like furthermore, like, I don't know, puts the emphasis on, sorry, if you're not watching the podcast, the pauses in our speaking is probably just because my cat Josie is wanting to be a part of it.
Josie always wants to be involved.
Yes. But
correct.
the scene is so important, and I think it's like these relationships you kind of accumulate mean so much. And I mean, just kind of like emphasizing that the first time I've actually like, I don't know if it's the first time we met, or I remember like actively like working here. One of the first festivals I shot in Dallas, one was Warped Tour, and then the other one was So What in 2011. What is that? What does that say? Oh, that's Edgefest. Anyway, I also shot a So What before, but it was like 2011 or something maybe. And then that's where she will stay. Okay. And then I saw James at So What when I shot it for like the first and last time for People Are Ugly. And I was like, oh my God, wait, like this is like, that's you.
Was that the first time you met?
Was that the first time we met?
we may have seen each other like in a pit.
I think, yeah,
but
the classic.
I would love to just totally derail this conversation and talk about the first time I met James, because funny enough, it was at a wedding, which I feel like was just the intersection of my life between music and weddings. And I don't know if you remember this, but I think you like asked me about my camera or something, and you mentioned that you also take photos, and we talked about concerts eventually, because I was like, oh yeah, I shoot concerts too. And so we talked for a minute, and I took a photo of you and Retta. And then the exit was happening, and it was under like an awning at like outside of the venue, and they had the lights up, and I was getting ready, and I was a baby wedding photographer. So I like didn't know anything, and I wasn't going to like do anything. And you were like, do you want these lights turned off? And I was like, and he was like, it'll look better if the lights are off. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And he was like, I'm going to go ask someone to turn them off. I was like, okay, great. And then he sure enough did that. And the sparkler exit looked great. Yep. And that was our first interaction.
Look at that. Taking initiative early on.
At like cool. That was like one of the first weddings that I shot, Sarah and Sean's wedding. Yep. And that is how I met James. And then obviously we knew each other at that point, and then shooting shows.
Yeah.
Ended up seeing you in the pit and all that. But yeah.
Yeah, I think my So What Fest is when I first like kind of like met you and kept like running in. Zach was also there, and it was just like, I know these guys. Yeah. They're friends. And I took a picture of you on stage, and he was like, yeah. And I was like, this is so cool that like all my friends are like here. You weren't physically here. That's how I got that gig.
I was about to say I couldn't do it, so I sent you, and it worked out great.
Yeah, and now here we are, all of us together.
Yeah, but I feel like talking about just meeting too is something that we also majorly wanted to talk to you about, because I feel like you and. Before we started recording the podcast, we were talking about how like the word networking kind of feels disingenuous and like not how it is. But I feel like you're just so good at genuinely forming relationships in the industry and just, I don't know, just doing it such like the right way, and everyone loves you. I feel like every time I share something on my stories of like one of your videos or photos, I have like 7 people respond about how much they love you and how great you are.
The most interaction I get is when I share a James Coffman post.
Same.
They're like, yo, we love James. And I'm like, yeah, me too.
We just are going to praise James this whole podcast. But you posted your Counterparts videos that you, like the documentary series kind of thing that you did.
First of all, amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I posted that on my Instagram story, and Robbie responded saying that like you had sat down with him and kind of
another photographer in our scene as well, like music. Yeah.
That you had sat down with him and kind of walked him through your process of doing everything. And he was like, it was just so cool because like he definitely didn't have to do that. And I know his time is limited because you're just touring all over the freaking world now. So I just think you are one of the people in the scene that I don't think anyone has anything bad to say about, and everyone just praises you nonstop.
I have something bad to say. No, I'm kidding.
Until now. No, but you're just so good at forming genuine relationships. And I wanted to just kind of ask how, like, for anyone out there trying to get into the music industry, it is such a relationship-based industry. Do you have any, like, I don't know, words of encouragement or suggestions on how to go about it in like a genuine way that doesn't feel sleazy? Like the word networking feels sleazy to us.
Yeah. So like, I think there's a lot I can say about it. And I think it starts way back when of like just being in positions where I had to meet people. So for example, I know.
Josie said, yeah.
For example, when I graduated college, and this context is important, so I'm glad I've already said it. Yeah. And I went and worked for the fraternity. What I did was travel to different universities where we had chapters and have to walk into a room of 50 plus people and in a way kind of control the room and get these people to, it sounds weird, but like me, like, and for them to really trust me that I have their best interests at heart and that like, some of the things that they're doing probably ain't right, and we gotta kind of fix it. I know. And so like the kind of experience of doing that helped kind of teach me how different people work, right? Because like, you know, you meet different people all the time, and you don't know how they react to certain things or how they approach certain situations or what. And that experience of that also helped. And then I don't know if a lot of people know, and it's very apparent that a lot of people don't know, but I worked in corporate America for 10 years.
Yeah, I was about to say, James is very new in touring. Yeah. I feel like you and I both kind of quit our jobs the same year and then just sent it. So there is like... I mean, I don't know, like steps to it.
Yeah. So like over the course of the last 10 years, you know, because this is my 10th year of shooting shows, which is weird to think.
Say that out loud.
And also like 10 years of being like a professional, like in a career. You know, I did the fraternity thing for 3 years. I worked in tech sales for 3 years. And then I worked at a marketing and advertising company for 3 years doing customer success. And so like a lot of that experience of just having to always be on when I'm in a meeting or know how to formulate things or say things to certain people that are in different positions or different scenarios, I had to know that stuff. And I think that helped a lot. I think that helped a lot in kind of helping form just relationships with not just people in this scene, but like in the professional scene, in the career scene that I was in. So I feel like it's important to share that because like experience helps kind of build you as an individual. And all of that experience was, I think, very monumental in helping make me into who I am and how I approach, you know, individuals and people in like real life. So all while doing that though, I was obviously in the scene of being a concert photographer and wanting to do that, like after the whole So What thing happened. My first friends in the scene that I met at So What in 2017, because Hunter let me come out to the 2017 edition too, was Robbie Clark, Kurt Lunsford, Justice Dodson, and Zach Burns.
Damn.
Those were the 4 people that I met in the world of concert photography that were my inspiration for so many years. Like, if it wasn't for them being kind of in my network and kind of people that I could talk to, I don't think I would be here, but like, I think they were huge in like my developmental stage of like shooting shows and looking at how they did it, because they had done it for longer than I had at that point.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, trying to kind of just take that inspiration and try to do it in my own work. So yeah, those were the guys that I looked up to for the longest time. And I thought they were the greatest things because I was just a small pawn that had no idea what he was doing. But I was trying. Robbie's work was my inspo when I first started out. And I was like, I don't know how you do what you do, but I love it. So that was my like first really piece outside of Hunter of people that I networked with, or in reality just made friends with. I was gonna say, it's more like just like you're creating friendships and you're building relationships. It's not even like networking. I feel like networking has this kind of like undertone of like you're trying to get something. You're just like using it. It's all strategic. And it's like, I feel like in this scene, working in it too, it's like, it's not about like who you know that can get you something. It's just about like your friends vouching for you. Who's going to speak for you in a room that you're not in? Well, like that whole saying.
Everyone's just trying to get better and everyone's just trying to learn from each other.
That's what it should be.
And people want to be in rooms that other people are in too. Right?
Exactly. You know,
and with that kind of start and having like 4 friends I could call friends, you know, any show I did after that, because very shortly after that, I discovered that you can do press. And you can go and shoot shows, first 3 from the pit, and then, you know, sometimes from the crowd. And I was like, I'm going to do that as much as I can. Every show that comes through that I think would be cool, I'm going to go to it. And I mean, I feel like I genuinely dedicated the last, like before touring, like 9 years of my life going to as many shows as I could. One, because I loved the music and the artists that were coming. And also it like exposed me to new artists that like I had never would have listened to had I not. And I was applying for so many shows to do press. And through all of those shows, you know, meeting different photographers in the pit and not being like standoffish and actually like introducing myself and saying hi and following each other and you know, just like supporting from afar. Right. You know, I think that has to be done in the right way, right? Like your tone, your personality, the way that you approach things are all important in that.
So what do you think is like somebody trying to get into like the whole scene, or they want to tour, they want to do music photography? What is it like?
So I don't know if it's something that like over time I've kind of come to like learn or see or like pick up on, but no disrespect to anybody out there that, you know, doesn't know or hasn't really developed the kind of the common knowledge of how a lot of this stuff works. But the way you say things, the way that you say things to someone, and I think working in corporate America and working with students for 3 years straight, like you kind of learn how like when someone says something, where their intent is. And I feel like come to learn like when someone is genuinely curious, there is a vulnerability that they have to be like, I don't know these things. And I'm genuinely curious. And that the genuine curiosity for me, I think, is important. And I'm willing to share whatever information that I have with that person. For example, 2 days ago, I sat down with a guy named Will Dahmers, and he is from Baltimore. And we met just on Instagram. He replied to something that I posted once, and it was like, I thought it was a very genuine response. And, you know, when I started touring, I was going through Baltimore and I did it a few times. I invited him out, and I didn't know him, but like he was a nice person and I could see like the genuine intent he had. And so we just like stayed in touch. And 2 days ago, I sat down with him for 3 hours and told him everything that I knew about photo and video and editing and storytelling and everything.
Mm-hmm. That was something L'Oreal and I were actually talking about too when we were kind of preparing for what we wanted to talk to you about on this podcast, is that it's so cool to see you, even like on social media, if anyone asks a question, you genuinely take the time to write out everything you think you need to that will answer the question. Yep. And we were saying how like whatever the opposite of gatekeeping is, that's what James is. Yeah. He's like, here are the keys to the castle. Here's exactly how I did everything. Mm-hmm. The more the merrier. It just makes everyone better.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I know we were talking about building genuine friendships, but trying to tie that back, you know, there has to be a little bit of belief in the people that you want to associate with, right? Like, I've believed in Robbie Clark from day one. And I've always known what he's wanted. And I still believe in him. Even when I have to get on to him and be like, Robbie, what are we doing? But yeah, I told him, come to my house and let's talk video. And he did. And we did. And it was awesome. Still waiting for that video, Robbie. Yeah. But you know what I mean?
Call him out.
It's you find people that you can genuinely believe in. And it, you know, in a way, it's like there's like a feel good aspect of that. It feels good to help. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of photographers out there. And I genuinely can't help them all. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I'm transparent on social media about my process and how I do things and why I do certain things. Because at the end of the day, the way I see things is not going to be the same way that someone else sees things. Yes, they're gonna approach it a different way because they don't know what's going on in my head. And I see something in a certain way, and I'm going to create that thing in a certain way. Doesn't mean that the format that I choose is any different than this other videographer or whoever. But I see it in a certain way, and I have my own creative eye, and they have their own creative eye. So when I give information, I say this in a way of like, not that they can't do it, but they're not going to create it the same way that I'm going to create it. Yeah. You know? And I think there's like some power in that. Whereas like, there's tools. Everyone has the tools. But how you use them is the most important. So I know we kind of derailed a little bit from like the networking side of things, but I believe in being a good person. Like that genuinely people have been good to me. And there's a number of creatives out there that have helped me so much that, you know, it's like I got to give back. You know, like,
I was going to say that's like the perfect kind of tie back to obviously Hunter just kind of taking a chance on you and being like, hey, you want to shoot? And that being your first little segue into it. It's cool when you get the opportunity to do that for others.
It is a lot of too, I think, like right place, right time. Like if you weren't in that bar, just going to the screening, like you would not have sat down, saw him next to you and like got the chance to introduce yourself. And so that is like, you know, I don't know.
It's weird because time frame wise, for the first from 2016 to really 2021, I did not do a whole lot of like social media networking or friendship building, right? When I think about it, it felt more like in that time frame I would be doing it to network, and I wasn't shit. I mean, I had maybe 800 followers for the first 4 or 5 years that I was shooting shows. And like, there's a whole nother dynamic there about social media and how we look at it and how we use it and how we treat it and how we let it define us. That I think is a conversation to be had. But in 2021, when shows finally came back, the first show I shot was Beartooth in like September. It was like almost near my birthday. And it was like really sick. And after that, I was like, man, like I got a new camera because I got a new camera right before COVID, and then I didn't get to use it for a show. And so that was the first one. And then, you know, I was excited to start putting in for more shows and you know, seeing my friends again, seeing guys like Robbie in the pit and stuff like that. And I remember taking kind of the relationship building more seriously, you know, obviously seeing people in person in the pit, as well as like taking the online part of it a little bit more seriously too. And something that I learned around that time is that at the end of the day, followers don't matter. People will look at that and think
for the people in the back
that it's going to change your life if you have 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 followers. And like, yeah, man, more eyes are probably on you. But at the end of the day, it's about the work and what that work means to whatever artist that you're going to be working for. Mm-hmm. Like if they see it and they're like, that's what we want, then that is how that works, right? Yep. Like, so what I did was found people in the same kind of following range as me.
Yeah.
At this point, it might have been like 1,200, 1,300 followers or something. So it wasn't nothing, you know, but it wasn't like something super something. Mm-hmm. And so I would find people, other creatives in that same range. And I like to follow people whose work inspires me, whose work I like, because when I doom scroll, I'm doom scrolling my own feed.
Yeah.
And I want to see the stuff from the creators that I appreciate and enjoy in my feed. And because it inspires me. And so I started kind of connecting and following people whose work I enjoyed in the kind of same following level that I am. Yeah. Like my skill level in 2021 is completely different what my skill level is now, right? Yeah. Like you kind of find people that have the similar skill level as you. And then, you know, the amount of times that I've like shot a DM over to someone who, you know, also had like 1,200 followers who worked I liked, I'd be like, yo, your work is sick. Just wanted to let you know that.
And that means so much to people.
Yeah. And I'm not doing it to be like disingenuous. I'm doing it because like I followed you for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Or you're not doing it to like get information out of them or to do anything.
No, not at all. And the amount of friendships that I've started because I've sent that one DM is insane. Some of my best friends today.
It's crazy what being genuine and like not having like a weird like motive.
Right. If that's the thing I was saying earlier. It's like it's really easy to pick up when there's a motive. And tone and you know, history and context and stuff. Yeah. And like I'm not trying to shit on anybody, but like just so everyone knows, like it's kind of noticeable. Yeah. You know, like so it's like I'd rather be genuine with someone, actually compliment their work because I actually like their work. And if something comes from it, cool. If I can build a friendship from that, awesome. If not, then who cares? Mm-hmm. Like there are thousands and thousands and thousands of photographers out there, right? Like there's inspiration to be found everywhere.
Yep.
And to what I think worked the most is I started focusing on community in about 2022. And between 2022 and probably 2024 and 25, I felt like I was trying to build a community, one, around my work, but also around other people's work and what everyone else that I enjoyed following was doing. And I think that's when I saw the stride.
Yeah.
That it was more about community and who you supported than just trying to gain a following.
Yeah.
Like we all look at it. We all watch it. The moment that you're about to hit that next 1,000, you're like, oh, we're almost there. You know, we're almost there. But like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
No,
like,
it doesn't change anything.
And I've tried to like focus on it not being the center of who I am.
Yeah.
I know people with 50,000 followers and their work is mid.
Yeah.
Like it's not something that I say I know people. I don't know these people. I don't know these people. I've seen these people.
Yes,
Sorry, context and words matter.
I've looked at these accounts.
I've seen these accounts.
Yes.
And it's like, I probably wouldn't follow you because your work doesn't speak to me the way that I would want work to speak to me.
Yes.
And you can pick and choose. Like we all have free will, do whatever the hell we want. Like, but anytime that like I interact with someone, I want there to be meaning behind it and you know, like genuine, like words to go along with it. And that's been what kind of I've done for years now.
Yeah.
And I've seen beautiful, beautiful friendships and relationships come out of it. Like I feel like tomorrow I could see someone's work that I'm like, that is so sick, and shoot them a DM and be like, yo, your work is sick, and leave it at that because I like your work. And that's really what it comes down to for me.
Yep.
I love kind of talking about the like curation of who you follow and it being people that genuinely inspire you and work that you really like. Because one thing that we kind of wanted to pivot to asking you about too is your creative process. Because we admire you so much, and I love that you you post kind of your thought process behind things on social media, which I also think is a really cool thing that not a lot of people do. And I think a lot of people can benefit from seeing like how you think through things. And I like fangirled over you hard when you posted the Counterparts videos and kind of like how you approached it and your thought process going into that tour. So can you just kind of like talk, because I think it's really easy to coast, and when you're
especially on the road.
Yeah, and when you're hired to do a job that you already know how to do, I think it's really easy to just do the same thing over and over again and, you know, technically do your job and that be it. And I think you're always constantly striving to do better and learn more and, you know, sharpen your skills, and just I think you're always striving to improve, which I really admire. So can you kind of talk through how, when you're about to go on a tour, how you prep for it, your kind of creative process, and like what you're thinking through, and how you approach just kind of always getting better at your job when you're already great at it?
Yeah. Like, do you also kind of like piggybacking on that, or like maybe you can focus like on, I don't know if it like hones it in more. Do you go in with like an idea first? Like, you know, you have like an idea of a video or a concept that you kind of want to like achieve by the end of the tour?
Because that's what you posted about Counterparts that I really liked.
Yeah. I think to start this is I've always ever wanted to do it the right way with anything, with talking about relationship building. I wanted to do that the right way. I wanted to be like, I wanted to meet people that were good people as well, that weren't shitty, because like, let's be real, there are some not so great people in the industry that, you know, do kind of like do things not the right way. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. So I've always just wanted to do things the right way. I've said that multiple times, very transparent about that, on how I act, on how I navigate this industry now, and how I interact with people, and how I talk to people, and how I go about business, because at the end of the day, it's also a business. Mm-hmm. And so I preface that all with, I've always just wanted to do things the right way, but also in a way that fits me as a person. When going into the Counterparts tour, I guess for people that don't know, I started touring for the full time in May of last year. I had done 7 different tours last year. Not Insane. All full tours, all parts of tours, but I still did 7 different tours, which was great because it showed me where my boundaries were skill level wise, and it showed me like what I could do and what I couldn't do, and things that like I could try and not, you know, feel like I'm not confident in it. So going to Counterparts, I wanted to look at everything I had already done for them on the fall US headliner that we did last year. And then also as a creative, improve as a creative going into the following year. So how can I take those two things and just level them up a little bit, right? Yeah. And help create more of an identity for the band Counterparts that I feel like a lot of people don't really know much about. And do it in a way that isn't too revealing of them, but also kind of taste into who they are as a band, but also how do people view them as a band. And I sat down in December, also completely switched video editing programs. Went from Premiere to Resolve and haven't looked back. Yep. So all while prepping for the tour, I was learning a brand new program.
Which is always such a fun learning curve. Yeah.
Always the best idea to do before leaving.
It is, but it ended up being way easier than I thought because I already had known Premiere. So it was like finding those same things in Resolve was, And now I'm never going to go back to Premiere. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I started sitting down and thinking about how I could highlight Europe and UK in a way that isn't just another tour for them, that tells a story and what that story is, because I don't know. Mm-hmm. And I think taking a look behind the curtain and trying to and allowing people to kind of understand what touring as a band is like is a decent angle to start. And so I just needed to like break it all down so that I could like visually tell that story. So what it really came down to was 5 different chapters, 5 different weeks of tour, each week its own chapter, and visually telling a certain piece of what being on tour is like as a band, like like Counterparts. But doing it in as like cinematic as I could, right? Like
Which it is.
In true James fashion.
Yes.
As much creativity as I felt like I could confidently put in. Because I think confidence in what you do is very important. I was talking with Will about this for like 30 minutes the other day of like, you have to be confident in what you put out. But it also, the people watching that from you have to, in a way, believe in it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that, right? There's different skill levels. There's people that are putting out their first ever video for the first time, and it's the best that they can do at the. Oh my God!
He's all choked up.
Buzzball.
Buzzball. No.
That may not be the best thing in the world, but they're confident in it, and it's at that skill level that they're at, and so they can continue to just get better and better and better and better as they do it more. But no one is coming out of the gate as one of my buddies, Dylan Phipps, made a comment on my Counterparts post. No one's coming out of the gate as James Cameron.
Yes.
Like
that is
no
so
one.
true.
No one is.
Your first video is not going to be a masterpiece.
Exactly. And if you try to force it into a masterpiece, unless you are a just like cinematic genius or cinematography genius, it ain't going to be that. And no one's going to have the belief in you that you did that because it's where you're at skill-wise. And you're not going to have the confidence in that to believe that what you created was intentional. And so there's that whole mindset of it. So it's like, I couldn't have came out of the gate touring-wise creating what I created for Counterparts.
Your very first tour.
My very first tour.
No.
There's no way. No one would have believed. People would have thought it would probably be cliche and like too niche and like not me, because where my skill level was and my understanding of like cinematography wasn't there. I went to film school. I didn't learn shit. And I will continue to tell you I didn't learn shit in film school.
You learn by doing.
Yeah. And I didn't do a whole lot when I was in school because they didn't let you.
Yeah.
They didn't let me touch a camera until my senior year. What the hell?
That's insane.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, so you kind of have to match your skill level like with the confidence you have in what you're creating. So going into this in the way I was going to be creating it, I had to like really think about it, really like draw it out in front of me on what I wanted to do. So I had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and they would all tie together. And at the end of the day, each video was going to stand alone. But at the end of the tour, they'll all go together to create a tour documentary to highlight Europe and UK. But yeah, so that the creative process for that was just watching as much YouTube as I could about cinematic storytelling and sound design. And I am still learning sound design. I do not claim to be a pro because it is very, very hard. Like finding the right sound for a certain thing that you're trying to visually show while also undertones of whatever music, or it's so much to think about.
But it's so fun. It's like a puzzle.
It's 100%. It's super fun. And I had a great time doing it. But again, you don't come out of the gate just doing that.
No.
Yes.
Like you have to learn. Like you have to understand why things do the way that they, or why things work the way that they do.
Yeah.
So that whole creative process was the first time I'd ever done that. Like I'd never set up prior to a tour what was going to happen and then executed it and hope that it worked.
Yeah.
I just feel very fortunate that it did.
Yeah.
But prior to that, like it really was just this band asked me to go on tour. I said, okay. And I said, is there anything specific that you want? And every band that I've worked for has said, do whatever you want.
Amazing.
And that creative freedom is so sick. And I love that because it gives me the opportunity to, improve as a creative and not be put in a box. Obviously, there's certain things you got to get when you're on tour. Like that's a given, right? But as far as like the main story of everything, like, do you, boo?
Yeah.
I love that.
I think that's something that sets you apart too. Like Maddie and I, being just concert photographers and, doing whatever, we see a lot of people shoot so many shows and we're just like, that's a concert photo. That's a tour. That's a picture you took from the pit. But I think something that really sets people apart, and you being one of these people, it's like, oh, that's like a part, like there's like a story behind this.
I think there's like an expected way to document something that you're like, okay, that's exactly how everyone would do it.
Mm-hmm.
I think where your creativity and you develop your style and how things stand out is, wow, I wouldn't have thought to do it that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you just continue to hone that very well. All right, guys. And that was part 1 with James Coffman.
Mm-hmm.
The conversation was so good. There's still so much to come. We're not gonna chat too much about it because 2 weeks from now we will put out part 2, which is the conclusion of this. And James just shares so much more. I
shares
feel like
where he's going. I believe like what's coming up next. So
just a lot. I feel like this episode was phenomenal. A great start. It'll bookend in 2 weeks when we release part 2. So we won't yap too much, but we will see you in 2 weeks.
Come back because it ends well.
Bye.
Bye.